Hi guys, this is Fernando doing another video for more survivalists. In this case, continuing with the topic of air. If you haven't seen some of those videos before, I suggest doing so, especially the one that says Preparedness, don't take air for granted. There I started talking about this, explaining cases in which air may be compromised to a lesser or greater degree, talking about forest fires, ash, volcanic ash, various incidents of different nature like natural or man-made disasters where there's dust, debris, and air is being affected. Then you have cases like with flu, bird flu and such. All these things that affect air, and air is by far your most important concern. If you don't have air, you really cannot do much. So without going nuts about it, I suggested finding maybe a solution to some point. I talked about having in your kit, especially in your everyday carry kit, keeping it handy, a 3M collapsible respirator such as this one. It will be much better than nothing at all, right? It will be helping much more than not having anything. Now, as we continue talking about this topic and we get into more worst case scenarios, cases in which we're talking about nuclear, biological, and chemical attacks, or more serious incidents. In those cases, you need a proper NBC respirator, right? One of the ones that I've showed before was this one, the S10 respirator, the S10 NBC respirator. And in this case, I'm going to be talking about the GSR, the General Service Respirator made by Scott, which is the respirator that you see here right now, right? This is the latest technology in terms of respirator. It has been in development since the year 2000, and it's only now replacing the S10 respirator, which is the one I showed you guys before, in the British Armed Forces, right? And for the next couple of years, it's going to be replacing it fully. For now, both of them are being in use. This one's slowly replacing the S10. This is, as of today, state-of-the-art technology in terms of respirator. It's not cheap by any means. Costs quite a few $100. It's not cheap, but it is the best, right? This is the one used by the British Armed Forces. The one used by the U.S. military would be the M50, which basically sees many of those same improvements. What is that we're talking about here? Which improvements would those be? Well, first of all, we have these twin canisters, right? That you can basically, it's much easier removing them when you're not wearing the mask. When you're wearing the mask, sorry, rather than doing it this way. When you remove these, you just cannot breathe in. If you put this mask on right now and you try to breathe in, the mask, if it fits properly, and we're going to be talking about that in a second, it just sucks into your face. You cannot breathe without these, right? What that basically means is that in this case, using the GSR, you can replace the canisters on the go, just removing one, replacing it, then removing the other. With the older ones, with the S10, you basically had to hold your breath while replacing the 40-millimeter canister, right? You had to hold your breath while doing so, which in less than favorable circumstances, nervous under a chemical or nuclear attack of some sort, it may be much easier said than done, right? So that's basically one of the improvements. The canisters themselves are much better. You basically are talking about these lasting for a full day during a worst NBC scenario, worst case scenario. These ones, the 10-millimeter ones, the 40-millimeter ones, canisters, they would last for 1 hour or two in the worst environment, right? So that's quite a bit of improvement. Besides that, it's much easier to breathe with these on. With the GSR, General Service Respirator, it's much easier to breathe and do physical activity. Airflow goes much faster and better in this case than with the older masks, all right? So that's also pretty important. The drinking system has been improved. You can drink much faster with this drinking tube, hooking it up to your canteen. And finally, the visor is a bit bigger. It's a single visor and gives you a broader amount of visibility, and you avoid that claustrophobic effect that you could have felt in some cases with the older ones, right? So it's quite a bit of improvement. You still have the dual layer system so as to avoid fogging in the lenses. construction is pretty good. These masks will last for 20 years. The canisters themselves will last for 10 years when kept sealed properly as you're supposed to. All right, kept this way, they will last for 10 years. Now, once you open these, the time starts running up, right? The voice model is also pretty good. Basically, a great mask by all means. It is, in my opinion, it is worth the money. It comes in sizes 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 being the smallest one, 1 being the largest one if you have a huge mug, and you still have to check for fit, right? It's easier here because removing these, as I said before, the mask will suck in and you will not be able to breathe, right? You will be testing it for counter pressure that way. If you're able to breathe in without the canisters in place, then you're not getting a proper fit. There's also a bit of operator knowledge involved here, and with all MBC masks in general. If we're talking about a worst case scenario, MBC attack of some sort, you also need an MBC suit. The mask alone will generally not do. All right. Another thing, for example, if you have a beard, you will not get a proper seal, right, because of that beard. So you have to keep a clean shave if possible. So you just have to know a thing or two about it and how to test it properly to see if the fit is correct for you. So folks, that's basically it. Just a final video about the topic. We started with some of the most likely events which aren't as drastic as a nuclear or biological attack of some sort, or chemical disaster, and I made reference in some of those videos that again, something is always better than nothing. So if you have a collapsible respirator, that's great, and it's going to be covering most of the possible scenarios that you may be facing one day, right? Now, if you want to take this to the next level and have better protection, this would be it. In my opinion, this would be it. Maybe if you're in US, maybe the M50 it's good for you, but if not, the GSR General Service Respirator, yeah, sure, man, it's great, good stuff. Folks, take care. Remember to subscribe if you're liking these videos, and take care. Have a good day, and see you next time.